Hola, hello, I am Pepe the King Prono guy.
Oh, that's so f***ing cool. And that's how we completely destroy a powerboard on a Leader 120. Nice.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the channel. This is our third and final video in our series Battle of the Whoops, and we are going to look at today my ratings on what we think happened in the battle, and we're going to look at some flight footage at the end so you can check out how it looked when it was flying. And you feel free to comment on what you think won here on this video. Now remember, comment on the giveaway video that you'll now see in the upper right hand corner so you can enter to win one of these that you think won. So make sure you comment which one you would want if you wanted one in this. Now we also know that there is no fly sky option on this, so if you're a fly sky person and you win, we can find you something comparable that works with yours. So let's get started. So price wise, we had 117 on our Tiny Whoop, and we had 104 on our NewBeeDrone. Next up we have value. Now on the Tiny Whoop, I gave it a value of 9, and I did this because we got a spare frame and some batteries, but I feel we paid for those because when I looked up the price, it was about $12. If you add that to it, that's kind of, add that to that 104 we paid, you're kind of paying for them. So I gave 10 to NewBeeDrone because we did get that landing pad and a lanyard, and I don't feel we paid for those. Ease of build, I gave an 8 to the Tiny Whoop because we do need to solder our pigtail on, and if we want on-board on-screen display, we would have to do some soldering there. So it's not that simple, but is simple. We gave it 10 to the NewBeeDrone because that was just plug it all together and off we go. Camera quality, pretty much a tie. I gave both of them a 9. I felt the Tiny Whoop was a little blown out inside, but great outside. And the NewBeeDrone was great inside and a little off outside. VTX range, I gave the Tiny Whoop a 10 because I was able to go places I wasn't able to go with any other little whoop I've had before. And I gave the NewBeeDrone a 9 because it did fade off at the end of the driveway, which I didn't have that problem with the Tiny Whoop if you look at the flight footage here at the end. Everything I mentioned you'll see in the flight footage. Next is a beta flight setup. I gave a 8 to our Tiny Whoop because nothing was set up in beta flight at all. It did know what UART it was on, but everything else you have to set up the way you want. The NewBeeDrone had everything set up. You pretty much change the name of it, make sure you have the right receiver stuff on, and you're good to go. Indoor flight characteristics. I felt that the Tiny Whoop had great indoor flight qualities. You'll see me bouncing a lot more off the ground with the NewBeeDrone than you will with the Tiny Whoop. The motors definitely helped, and those are 20,000 kV versus 19.7 kV on our NewBeeDrone, and that might be all it was. And like I said, the NewBeeDrone bounced a little bit. Now outdoors, the Tiny Whoop definitely performed great out there. Didn't have any problems at all, even a little bit of a breeze. And the NewBeeDrone had a little bit of a problem with the breeze, and again tried to bounce in the grass a lot. Now flight time, I was averaging, after a lot of packs, I was averaging 4 minutes 20 seconds on the Tiny Whoop. So those motors are definitely efficient too, and I was averaging 4 minutes on the NewBeeDrone. Now with all that said, it's pretty much, if we talk about winner in my mind, I really, really, really enjoy the Tiny Whoop, even with a bit of the camera problem inside. Um, both are great, though. Both are great, and it really comes down to, I think, if you're looking to easily get into it, then the NewBeeDrone AcroBee is for you because it's quick, easy, simple to build, and flies great. If you have a little bit more skill, you can go into the Tiny Whoop and spend a little more time on it. So now we can go into some flight footage. I won't talk through all the flight footage. I'll just give you an idea. But this is your NewBeeDrone. It has the OSD on, as I mentioned, because we weren't going to solder the OSD onto the VTX onto the board at this time for the Tiny Whoop, which I'll do after the fact now. But flight was great inside, pretty much up the whole time, besides little bounces on the ground. A little bit of flickering in this in our recording, but I was not getting that flickering at all in my goggles, so it was clean and clear. And with this, of course, it does have our RSS going, so we're seeing what kind of range we're getting. I've never been actually able to fly a whoop from my office into the bedroom without losing signal, and I didn't even try to lose signal here. It did have the power again when I wanted to punch over something, to punch over it no problem. And you see there like weird loss of signal on the flying low, and see like that I was just having some issues with, and I did fly this guy first too, and this is like maiden flight, so that bit of stick issue, of course was virgin stick, but it wasn't from coming from a more powerful quad and then going to this to where I was used to like, less stick or anything. All the animals really, really love these. I hadn't set my my low voltage alarm the way I wanted it yet either, so it's pretty much blinking the whole time. I usually can take these guys down to 3.1, 3.2, and they will bounce right back to 3.7 once I park it. So this, of course, without the OSD, is our Tiny Whoop. I think you can tell pretty much right out of the box the power difference. It flies faster for absolute certain. I am a fan of the Beta FPV board anyway, because one of my first favorites was the Beta FPV 665S. Crash. So you can see like less breakup as I'm back here. That's why I like the VTX on this so much. But as you can see how washed out the camera feels comparatively. It's weird though, because once I'm outside it's really nice. If you notice too, see, I'm not like having the same throttle drop issues where like there, if I slowed down, I wasn't dropping to the ground like I was. Hit the squirrel cage. Both cameras crystal clear too. That was really nice. There's the kitty, Mr. Klaus. And here I'm just taking a little bit more of a zippy run at it, and you can see the thing does move along pretty decently. Again, I'll get the OSD going because it does kind of suck not knowing where your battery is. At the same time, it's kind of nice not to have a lot of crap on your screen, I gotta tell you. There's some full speed. Well, not even full speed at this point, but it's zippy. And we're starting to run out of juice. At this point, I can tell the battery's sagging out, so. And we sag out. So we're going to start outside, though, with the Tiny Whoop. Again, you can tell the camera's kind of flat, you know, but it is, as far as through the goggles, was clean and clear, and actually looked really nice outside. Bump, bump. That was the other thing I noticed about the Tiny Whoop is I seem to be able to bump like off of everything, and it not flip over and crash. I didn't go into to do an acro mode stuff or anything because I don't really think that's fair for any whoop because they're not really. It's not the easiest thing to do with these things. You can, but it's not. You know, they're just not the same for doing that. I may come back later and look at acro mode as its own animal. So this is my VTX test outside. Anything by now would have croaked. It started to croak that way, but you can see I have the entire house in my way because I'm sitting out there on the front porch. Lots of scrag in my yard. There's, if you're not from the south and you don't have to deal with it, there's Spanish moss everywhere, and that stuff just jumps out and grabs you. Like this part right there, the end of the driveway, you'll see later on that the AcroBee did have some trouble out there. Sorry, I'm trying not to be loud, and wife's sleeping, and it's making me have to clear my throat. See, like that, it'll run the ground, but it's not hitting the ground. And we're off. Now, let's take a look at our AcroBee outside. And you can see with this guy, like camera not as good outside as was inside. It's not horrible through the goggles, it's just definitely not as beautiful as it was inside. That's why they both got a 9. Wish they'd get these damn DVRs to record what you're actually seeing in the goggles instead of these little tweaks and tweaks that we're getting that I was not getting in goggle. The only loss I had was like down here a couple times for some weird reason. As you can see, but not every time. It's very weird. And then of course the back of the driveway on my VTX test here in a little bit. Down here, and it went just about as far, but so you can see there, I almost lost it, which I did not have that issue with the Tiny Whoop. Buzzing my own head, hitting the pole, regathering my thoughts, and continuing. Now you'll see a few cuts here and there, because again, when it touched the grass, I think once, and it did end up flipped over. I don't know if that's a canopy thing or what, but and there was a little bit more breeze came up while we were doing this than with the Tiny Whoop. At some point you can probably see the moss leaned, see it blowing. So this is in that kind of breeze, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. That this thing's going this well in that breeze. So again, in result, they're both really, really good. You can see why these are the two top brands. They outperformed other ones I've shown you and tested for sure. I mean, look at that Spanish moss laid over. That's a heck of a breeze for a Whoop. But you can see right there, it felt the breeze. So yeah, like I said, I mean, if you're looking for a quick, easy build, no solder, bing bang boom, fly, all you're gonna need to do is buy some batteries if you don't already have them. And I think this is the JST V2 plug versus the little itty bitty Tiny Whoop style plug. This is a little bit bigger one, white one with a slot in it. I think it, again, it's called JST V2. So you just need to get some batteries for that, plug all your stuff together. I built it probably in 15 minutes. And you'll be set with a quick and easy one. If you're, like I said, a little bit more advanced and ready to solder on those itty bitty boards, the Whoop is an incredible, and there you go, there's a crash. Incredible, and I really like it. It's starting to be my favorite. So I like them both, and I've been flying them both like constantly. But the Whoop's starting to take a little ground for me. So again, thank you guys. Feel free to, please subscribe, please like the video, and remember, comments for the giveaway on the giveaway video, but comments are welcome here. So I'm going to be out of town for a week, and I'll try to get some stuff from where I'm at, and thank you guys. Talk to you soon.